This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello.
Well, let's get back to it.
So, in a nutshell, the railways are going on strike, the post office is going on strike, the lawyers are going on strike, the nurses are going on strike, the doctors are going on strike, and probably the butchers, the bakers and the candlestick makers are going on strike. And we'll need the candlestick makers because the lights will shortly be going out, as we don't have the reserves of gas to make the electricity to keep them on, and we couldn't afford it even if we did. And the Bank of England is trying to save the ship while Blunder Truss and Crazy are holding it under the waterline. They're taking from the poor and giving to the rich. They've cut us off from free trade with our biggest market. They've declared war on France while trying to get France to do us a favour with the Channel crossers. Pension funds that have taken decades to build up were almost wiped out in a day. We seem to have been taken over by some winner-takes-all cult. The clocks are about to go back. A huge cloud of poisonous gas is drifting over Britain, and Vladimir Putin's said he's going to nuke us. But apart from that, how's it going?
We have never had it so good.
Much of Britain was hit by rain and strong winds of up to 70 miles an hour today as the effects of Hurricane Ian are felt across the pond. Which proves that you can't just name a hurricane the first name that pops into your head. Hurricane Ian. The weather event is driving an area of low pressure over the UK, a depression. Just like the Chancellor's fiscal event drove an area of depression over the UK as deep as the Mariana Trench. The wet weather will continue into Saturday, but it will mostly be affecting the north and western areas. Mostly. Checking while you wait. I bet it bloomin' will. One moment, please. Aha! Wow. This is a forecast for Glasgow. Are you ready? Glasgow, raining tonight and raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday and raining on Friday and raining on Saturday and what? Not raining on Sunday? Oh no. Yeah, it will. And then raining on Monday. This is next week now. This is not this coming week. This is the following week. Every day raining until Monday, the following week. And then raining on Monday and raining on Tuesday and raining on Thursday. And did I mention Wednesday? Wednesday it'll be raining. And on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And pretty much every day for the rest of your lives. Oh, well, never mind. RAC spokesmodel Rod said, after a long period of relatively benign weather, drivers need to make sure that they're not caught off guard when this weather system sweeps in. Well, that's just good advice, Rod. He said heavy rain and strong winds are a pretty unpleasant combination on the roads, and we advise drivers to reduce their speed and leave a larger gap between themselves and the vehicle in front. Or, as drivers of hatchbacks heard it, speed up, tailgate the car in front if they do anything less than 40 into 20 zone. Don't worry about the consequences. You are a very special person and nothing bad will ever happen to you. There are numpties about outside tonight. I saw some lunatic behaviour. The stuff you see when you haven't got forward-mounted machine guns, eh? Overnight, mostly dry with clear spells, some showers in the west, winds locally strong. Saturday, showers across you-know-where. But outside of Glasgow, it will be generally bright with spells of sunshine. Sunday, mostly dry, chance of showers across the northwest. Similar conditions predicted for Monday, but more rain on Tuesday. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the entirety of October?
No.
OK, first 2 weeks of October. God, it's practically October. Can you believe that? It's almost Halloween. It's bonfire night. Jesus' birthday. First 2 weeks of October. At first, rain generally clears away from the southeast, while heavier and possibly thundery showers may be expected in the, Then, windy, unsettled, showers likely to spread southwards, especially in Spain. Temperatures turning cool, especially at night, which might mean mist and fog. Well, what's the difference between mist and fog? What is the difference between mist and fog? No one knows. Get that space hippie off the telly on the phone right now. I mean it. Oh, look at the mist. It's amazing. Second half of October, just before the clocks go back. Just before the clocks go back. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Said that. Last chance for pleasantness. Fingers crossed. Good luck, everyone. Second half of October. Some drier spells and temperatures likely to remain above average throughout. Some drier spells and temperatures likely to remain average throughout. We'll take it. Andy emails, I've come from the future and I'm here to warn Conservative voters not to elect Liz Truss as PM. You have no idea what's going to happen next, he says. Put it this way, a certain monarch does not expire until 2040 and the UK does not glow in the dark a month after Rishi is elected. I'm glad I've arrived before the big vote, says Andy. It's worse than you think, Andy. We didn't get a big vote. Martin says, I told my sister that I thought Mad Lizzie Blundertrust was like Miss Piggy. She replied, no, she's the bride of Chucky. I'm not sure that was worth reading, was it? Better luck next time, Martin. I'm going to rate them out of 5 as I go along. Southend, hello, Linda.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
That's good. You're not going on strike, are you?
There's no reason for me to go on strike, and nor would anybody care if I did.
Oh, yes, we would.
You would?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we missed you when you weren't on a couple of weeks ago.
Ah, right. Well, I miss being here.
Oh, that's good. Anyway, last week you said about you'd like to visit Vienna.
I'd like to visit Vienna, yes.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
It's really nice there. You should go.
Is it? What's nice about it?
There's lots to see.
Like?
In Spanish riding school. Would you like that?
No. What else have you got? Horses? No.
Yeah, no, you should actually go to Austria anyway.
Well,
it's in Austria.
If I went to Vienna, then technically I would be visiting Austria. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, it's in Austria,
yeah.
Well, I went to a little place called...
Wait a minute, horses? Is that all you've got? Is that all Vienna can afford? Horses?
Well, it's quite a few years ago that I went, so
yes.
I can't remember all of it.
Well, you said that there was a lot to see, Linda. Were you just making it up?
No. Actually, I went to Austria and I stayed in a place called Pieback.
Right, it was
you
closed.
Heard of that?
Pieback, no.
Pieback.
Pieback? Mm-hmm.
Pieback.
That's what I'm saying. Pieback.
No, not Pieback.
Spell it.
Payer. BACH. That made me laugh.
Oh, yeah. And what's there? Nothing.
It's so pretty. It's like a little village.
Yeah.
And
pretty and witty and go on.
No, all round it is mountains.
Right.
And it's just so pretty.
Well, so in other words, all it's got is scenery. Oh, I hate scenery.
Do you like walking?
I prefer, I'll go by cab. Do they have cabs?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Listen to that noise.
They don't have nice chocolate, though. I wouldn't have that.
Oh, come off it. They must have nice chocolate. Everywhere in Europe...
No, they don't have nice chocolate.
They don't have nice chocolate. Right, but what's nice in your book?
What's nice? What, nice chocolate?
Yeah.
Cadbury's.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot, Linda. I appreciate the call. 0345 6060 973. They don't have nice chocolate in Austria, like Cadbury's. Andy says, I've read that. John says, the reason the new Tory front bench have been distracted from their job... Oh, come on, stop giving me these things to read that I can't read on the air. By which I don't mean the people that are sending them. I mean the nice chap through the glass there, my glamorous assistant, who's putting stuff up that cannot be read on the air. Are you reading this stuff before you put it up for me to read on the air? Or are you just blurting it out? Listen to that noise. We've got a soundproof door here that could keep the water out of a submarine, but apparently it doesn't work when people are just chatting in the corridor. Can you get them to shut up? I know, I've been very demanding. Chatham, hello, Paul.
Hi, Nick. I've just been keeping abreast of LBC and various comments upon the budget, and I'm thinking that if anyone now supports the Conservative and wants to vote for them, they need to be sectioned, because I was listening to James O'Brien the other day, and he was saying about how some of the Conservative MPs were just sort of defending this trust. I mean, they were saying that the IMF is left. the IMF is left wing.
Yeah, I bet they're activists. Oh, Lord Frost. Why does anybody pay any attention to that man?
Exactly. Yeah, he was saying that Liz Truss is right in what she's doing, and
well, of course he would say that. The negotiating expert, Lord Frost. He looks like a melting candle. I'm not interested in the opinion of a person who looks like a melting candle.
Yeah,
I know that might sound superficial, but that's the kind of person I am.
Yeah, no, he always looks like he's in a room that's too hot. He's always kind of a little bit melty.
Like I just said, yeah.
Yeah, there was someone else, I can't remember the MP's name, but they were saying that the markets, the reason why the pound's gone down is because the markets are terrified of Keir Starmer.
Of a new Labour government, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Honestly, you couldn't make it up. These people are desperate and clueless. All right, thanks a lot, Paul. Thanks for keeping abreast of the situation. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. I got bad news about the royal family, by the way. Not our royal family, but there's another royal family. Very, very bad news. It's like tragic. It's unfortunate, to say the least. I'm so upset. And there's that story that chap just alluded to, which was... I got stuff on Lord Frost. Honestly, why is anybody paying attention to that man? Who cares what he thinks? Who elected him? No one. Why is he a lord? Could we see a little less of him anytime soon? Pretty pleased with sugar on top. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Here we go. Okay.
Chris texts, I just wanted to give people a heads up. Today I rang British Gas and found out about my smart meter. It had stopped sending readings to British Gas. I wonder how many other people, if any have found this out. I'm hoping I'm just unlucky, says Chris. I opened an account with British Gas, and they said, fortunately, your yearly bill will be £4,500. £4,500. Seriously, can you ask the people in the corridor to keep it down a bit? I'm trying to do a radio show here. Rona says, I rewatched Idiocracy last night. I definitely cringed more than the first time that I watched it. I can't imagine why it seems less funny. Have you seen God Bless America? God Bless America? No, I haven't even heard of it. Oh, well, I've heard of the phrase, of course, but not a film of that name. God Bless America. No, she says it's a very, very dark comedy, heavily satirical, well worth a look, and not for the faint-hearted. Well, I'll check it out on the World Wide Wait. God Bless America.
The American dream is dead.
He killed it. David says, the Tories have put up trading barriers at the world's biggest economic bloc. They're destroying the pound. They're the party of the free market who don't seem to understand the free market. It was comical. I mean, it's just so... It's almost sad, the way that Blundertrust and Crazy Kwarteng and all those other cultists on the far right have been dreaming of this moment where they can take control. Never actually, I would imagine, believing that they could take control. But they just stepped into the breach, and it was as though they'd stepped onto the flight deck of the Starship Enterprise, and the ship was deserted. They could just do whatever they wanted. And so they set a course for the heart of the sun. And almost instantly everything fell apart. They've been dreaming about this for decades. Billions and billions of pounds have been flowing into think tanks and all sorts of like lobby groups and so on, and propping up politicians who don't deserve to be propped up. And they've been writing books and reading Ayn Rand and going on television shows and telling us how it could be. And all we've got to do is free the market and throw off the shackles of control and rules and regulations and so on, and then we will be free. And they climbed aboard that horse, and the horse took a face dive on its second step. Threw them all off. I mean, if it wasn't happening to us, it would be comical. Meanwhile, in even worse news, have you heard about the Danish royal family? I'm very upset. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. 0345 6060 973. I'm not kidding. Can you please ask those people outside to keep it down a bit? I don't know how they can be so loud as to breach a soundproof door that's a half a foot thick. How can you be that loud? Peckham. Hello, Jan.
Hi. How you going, all right?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I was saying about smart meters. I would not do without my smart meter. They are absolutely fantastic.
In what way?
I'm not worried about what's going up in the 1st of October, but I checked my meter tonight and I took a picture for next Friday.
What a picture?
But
what a photograph?
Sorry?
Go on.
Yeah, as I said, I've got the electric and the gas. I've checked it earlier on tonight.
Yes.
It's well over 50 on the electric, well over on 50 on the gas. But it's
over 50 what?
I wouldn't do that with my smart meter. Sorry?
Over 50 what?
Over £50.
Oh, pounds.
And £50 in my electric, yeah.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, it's money.
Oh,
It's the
talking about
charge.
MONY. Yeah.
Sorry?
Money.
Yeah, money. Yeah, but as I said, I mean, my smart meter, I wouldn't do without it. They're fantastic.
They are fantastic, like science fiction. An unsolicited testimonial. Thanks a lot, Jan. Glad to hear about your fantastic smart meter. If it's anything like my smartphone, then it's very, very stupid indeed. Oh, they've stopped yelling at each other. That's nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's like trying to do a show in a pub. Steve tweets, Liz Truss doesn't sound like a Prime Minister. She sounds like Doreen in HR that's just about to give you a dressing down for accidentally taking home one of the work biro pens. Actually, to me, she sounds like a Dalek.
That is a disgrace.
A little bit like a Dalek. I mean, every time she opens her mouth, you expect her to say exterminate. We are being run by a Dalek.
Oh, no.
Julian says, the UK has swapped Boris' Dark Side of the Moon for Liz's Coda by Led Zeppelin. And it's your fault for denigrating Johnson. Happy now? Well, happy... I was going to say happier, but that's actually not true. Happy less. I didn't think it was possible, but Boris Johnson is now no longer the worst Prime Minister we've ever had. Liz Truss managed to take the number one position in about 10 seconds. Tom tweets, funniest thing this week was an LBC caller thinking Chris Philp's name was Filth. Chris Filth. I have zero respect for Chris Filth. The second funniest was Blunder Truss on the local radio rounds. Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, that was her inner Dalek coming out. It didn't matter what question that you threw at her. She was just going to repeat what she had learned. It was painful, actually. It was actually truly, deeply painful. I mean, say what you like about Boris Johnson, but at least there seemed to be a real human being in there.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I mean, not him, but it would be nice to be run by a human being and not a Dalek.
That is a disgrace.
A Dalek. Simon says, forget Liz Truss. The worst news as far as I'm concerned this week is that I had to turn the heating on. Summer is over. Yeah, I know what you mean. I had to turn the heating on as well. Just a little bit. It smelled a bit. Those radiators collect a lot of dust over the course of the summer, and it whiffed more than a little.
Disgusting.
Let's have Maidstone. Hello, Joan.
Hello there, Nick.
Hello there, Joan.
Hello, Nick. This will really, truly blow your mind.
Oh,
okay. At the moment, I'm going around promoting group bartering, right?
Group bartering?
Yeah, it really, really works.
What is it?
Take it from me. I'll tell you what it is. You just have a group of people, right? And also in the middle you have somebody who can be trusted and is the administrator in worldwide, web-wise, so that he can carry out, the negotiations, etc.
Yeah, an administrator, a worldly wise administrator.
That's right.
Me, I'm like a smart person.
I found the very man.
What happens? Just save your cash for this, sort of official stuff. Now, the rest of the stuff, find out what you can give, not only in terms of stuff, but also in terms of what you can actually do.
Joan, can I ask you a question about this?
Yep.
What are you talking about?
It works.
But what works? What is it that we're trying to achieve here, Joan? Just so I know where we're going.
So that you don't have to worry so much about your bills, my dear.
Oh, bills, right.
Yeah, all those horrible things that come.
Yeah.
Because all of us, each one of us, has some sort of talent, whether it's walking a dog, digging a ditch or whatever.
Walking a dog?
Yep.
Does that actually count as a talent?
It does to some folk.
I guess so.
So, you count each point. It's a pound equals a point.
Yes, and points make?
Forget the cash. Think in terms of points. When I taught it in Wales, they were called cwms, meaning the valleys,
Right, well, I
do
don't
there,
know. Points. I think somebody has a good point about points.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Extra points
right.
for getting it in order, Joan. I still have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, it's easy.
Well, you should have said.
So easy.
I've been overthinking it.
Easy.
Right.
Yeah, it's so easy, my dear, but it saved a lot of people a lot of worries, believe you me.
Right, well, we're talking about the KASH. Yes.
That's it. Forget the cash. Think instead of points. 1 point equals £1.
Right.
Now, what you do then is you just trade between you in the group, not one-to-one, not swaps like you did in the playground.
You're actually describing a hippie commune.
No, I'm not describing
I think that's exactly what you're describing. You're describing a hippie commune.
It a hippie commune, I'm quite happy with that.
I would love to call it a hippie commune.
Yep. But what it actually does, you think of a hairdresser, right? All they want is somebody to sit in the chair.
Yeah, I'll do my own hair. I'm not giving the hairdresser any of my precious points.
Yep. So whether they pay in points or pounds doesn't matter.
No, I'm doing my
then
own.
Later on, somebody piles them up. And I even came across a woman who had 10 cats. She wanted somebody to move in looking after these very smelly moggies while she went on a holiday.
Yeah. How many points gets a cat?
Well, it's up to them, what they decide.
Right. Well, maybe there's a cat shortage on. The price will just skyrocket.
Yeah, whatever you like to think. But anyway, some brave soul moved in, looked after the happy moggies, happy woman went on holiday.
Sounds
and
a
he
delight.
earned himself lots of precious
Lots of points.
Yes,
Lots of
that's
prizes.
It's so easy.
Well, if I just spent a couple of years thinking about it, then I'd probably think that it was easy too. Joan, it's made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And just because of that, would you like to be the next Chancellor of the Exchequer?
I could do a far better job than this one. Thee and me together, my dear.
I don't
the world.
I don't doubt it for a second. Can you start first thing on Monday? Well, in the afternoon on Monday. Well, maybe Tuesday. Don't come until Wednesday. In fact, let's say Thursday. Can you start first thing? Well, Thursday's very close to the weekend. Take the weekend off and we'll see you sometime in October. It's a date, Joan. You're hired. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
The whole world has in fact gone crazy. Chris texts, where is Gavin Williamson when you need him? He would be ideal to tell those people outside your soundproof door to shut up and go away. Missing you, Gav. Missing the lols. Dave texts, Boris Johnson went from the worst Prime Minister in my lifetime to the best Prime Minister this month. Hey, Liz, you're only the second worst Prime Minister we've had this month, if that's any help.
No.
0345 6060 973. Bad news about the royal family of Denmark. Have you heard? Shocking. I'll come to that in a minute. Guildford. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
What strikes me with all this economic crisis that the lunatics have caused is that we haven't voted for it.
No.
Where is democracy in this country?
Well,
and another thing I'd like to say, the 80% I understand of the Tory party out of the 160,000, the 80%, the greedy people that voted for Liz Truss, owe this country an apology.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to have public spending cuts, benefit cuts, mortgage trouble and so on. So I hope they're pleased with themselves.
They probably are. They knew what they were voting for.
Exactly. They need to look in the mirror at themselves and realise how greedy they really are.
And contemplate their gorgeous reflection.
Yeah. But that's what strikes me about all of this. It's the lack of democratic accountability.
There isn't any.
We had people that are, balmy, quite frankly, running this country, and yet we, the ordinary public outside, who are going to be the ones in all walks of middle class, working class, whatever, are going to be paying for this.
Forever.
And yet we can't do a damn thing about it until 2 years' time.
Well, I wouldn't hold your breath for there being an election in 2 years, Peter. I'm sure that something will come along that will make it necessary for Liz Truss or whoever happens to be the leader of the country by then, to call an emergency and cancel all future elections.
I wouldn't put anything past them.
I would be surprised if there wasn't another election in this country.
But that is we call it a democracy. But is it a democracy?
Not really. When you've got a prime minister that's acting probably more in a more right-wing way than any other developed country, who didn't get voted in by the people, has no democratic mandate for doing anything that she's actually undertaking at the moment. We've got a head of state that is unelected and appointed by accident, and an upper house, none of whom have been appointed to do anything whatsoever. And it's the second biggest legislature in the world.
It's just, I just can't believe how anti-democratic this is.
Right.
But
Believe it,
it's
Peter.
always the same. The rich get, they aim everything at looking after the interest of the rich, and sooner or later it goes pear-shaped, and all the ordinary people have to pay. And once again, we had it with the banking crisis and all the rest of it.
Well, Peter, the problem is that the ordinary people keep voting for a party that you have just accurately described to us.
That has been the problem, but
everything is our fault, all of it.
Yeah, well, the people up north that voted for Boris, or those that did vote for Boris.
That funny bloke off the telly, that's who they voted for.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
They didn't vote for this fright show.
Yeah, they must be feeling really cheated.
Yeah.
Because their greatest comedian is no longer there.
Right.
And now we've got someone in there who's a right-wing fanatic who they didn't vote.
Yeah.
And it's like, in a way, it's kind of like a coup.
It's completely correct in every respect, Peter. You're not overstating the case. You are right.
I wonder, how do we
do anything
deal
about
with
it?
this? Yeah, I mean, if ever there was a case
alcohol, Peter. Think of alcohol.
Booze.
That's why God invented alcohol.
Exactly. But I think if ever there was a case for, some kind of head of state dissolving Parliament, now is the time to do it, because there is no Democrat. I know they're unelected, but there's no democratic mandate.
Well, I seriously doubt that the royal family is interested in upsetting the status quo, Peter.
No, they're not.
No,
that is the trouble. Because people will then start pointing the finger at them as well. That's the problem.
Did you hear about the Dutch royal family? Oh, the Danish royal family. Denmark, Holland, it's all the same. Did you hear about the Danish royal family?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
no.
It's very, very upsetting news, Peter. You're going to be distraught.
They haven't lost their bikes, have they?
Okay, well, keep your chin up, Peter. It might never happen. Oh, no, that's right. It already has. He's very upset. Richard says the Brains Trust had a video call to President Zelensky today. They discussed an aid package for the devastated country. Zelensky said he'd see what he could do. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
I'll let that one go. Jed says, come back, Zahawi, and your dodgy math. Math? We say maths in this country. Yeah, Nadim Zahawi. We're still not missing you, mate. God, it's like, it's just one galumphing clodhopper to the next. Just when you thought it was the worst government that you'd ever seen, along comes another one that's even worse. Hard to believe, but, there it is. Any thoughts, Nadim?
So obviously, but I know certainly, but. But obviously,
he'll get back to us. 0345 6060 973. The Wirral. Hello, Nora.
Hiya, Nick.
Nora.
Right. I have an energy provider, and I have cause to ring them frequently because I've got a smart meter.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out it's not that smart.
No.
It's quite stupid, and it won't tell them my gas readings, so I have to read them. Anyway, so in the course of the conversation, I won't name the company, but in the course of the conversation with the person who I was speaking to, I think was in South Africa, I said, you'd think, with £72 billion profit, they'd be able to get the admin correct, wouldn't you? And he said, oh, no, we're not making a profit. We've been making a loss.
How would the person on the end of the phone know that? I mean, maybe they mean the call centre that has been employed by the company that you are trying to contact. Maybe the call centre has made a loss.
He didn't specify that. He seemed to think that it was him personally, that this company was making a loss.
Right.
So then he told me that I have to get the reading in by midnight tonight because this is not useful for anybody that's got to, they submit their energy readings, their meter readings. Because if it goes in by midnight tonight, it goes at this price, but by tomorrow it goes up by 30%. So if they put it in tomorrow, they'll pay 30% more on whatever the reading is.
Right.
So be quick. Can I read this to you as well?
Well, I don't know. What is it? Is it a poem?
No. I bow to few broadcasters as low as I bow to the master that is Nick Abbot. Guess who said that? You did, just now. Yeah, because I was quoting... You were James
quoting
O'Brien.
Me. No, James O'Brien. Well, James
You
O'Brien
said that on Monday.
James O'Brien should stop drinking at work. Thanks a lot, Nora. 0345 6060 973. Scott texts, I can't believe what total morons you've elected over there, and I live in Kansas. We've got more moronic leaders in this country than they do in Kansas. Well, that's just embarrassing. No offence. He says, perhaps we can start hosting UK families over here this winter. With those accents, you'll really class up the place. Well, we appreciate it, Scott. JR texts, so Hurricane Ian is passing. The next hurricane will begin with a J before it's K. It could be Hurricane Quasi, and then straight after it's L for Liz. Take cover, everyone. Yeah, we've done that already. We're out there digging shelters. Don't worry about that. Way ahead of you. Peterborough. Hello, Doug. An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes, Doug. Doug has fallen to the floor and he can't get up. Ambulances are speeding to the scene. Better luck next time. 0345 6060 973. I should remind you that this show does get put out as a podcast. Now, if you've got Global Player, you'll find it on there. If you haven't got Global Player, then it's free, and it has an enormous amount of entertainment that you'll find on there. It's got all the radio stations we do, like Heart and Capital and Classic FM. So relaxing. And many, many others. There's ones that go... I'm sure there's one that goes... bound to be. I'm not going to sit here and try and list them because it'll take up too much time on a brief 3-hour show. But it has all the radio stations that we do and a boatload of podcasts as well. Enough to sink a major ocean-going ship. Now, this show, like I said, gets put up as a podcast. Now, what that means is that we take the news and the ads out. It takes less time to listen to, and so you'll use less electricity. You still won't be able to pay your fuel bill, but every little helps, yes?
No.
Now, it is a little confusing because there's two ways in which to listen to this show on Global Player. One's catch-up. You don't want that. You want to listen to it as a podcast because, like I said, we take the news and the ads out, so it takes less time to listen to. As a podcast, it's called Nick Abbot, The Whole Show, and it is now exclusively on Global Player. If you used to get it somewhere else, it's not going to be there anymore. It's now only on Global Player, which, like I said, you can pick up for free. You can use it just like you use your computer. You can use it as a web page or as an app for your phone or your smart or stupid phone. And it's available for Apple and Android. Global Player, Nick Abbot, The Whole Show podcast.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Basket Case tweets, why are you not pointing out that it was also the Labour Party traitors who stopped Corbyn on his own side, giving us Brexit, Boris and Truss, along with this economic sabotage? Hang on. Right. What? It's the Labour Party's fault. Oh, my God. I am so sick of reading that. I don't believe that Jeremy Corbyn said much that was anti-Brexit. I think he was all for it, wasn't he? And as for giving us Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, well, the people gave us Boris Johnson and they knew what they were voting for.
Affirmative.
It just seems a bit odd to vote for your own economic catastrophe. To vote to limit your own horizons. Seems a bit strange, but I suppose, that's what they wanted. They've got it in abundance. Aaron texts, who voted for this? Where's the mandate? What the hell is happening? Well, that's an excellent question. What the hell is happening? Toronto. Hello, Jamie.
Hello there, Nick. How are you this evening?
I am good, thanks.
Thankfully, I'm a little less refreshed than the very last time I called you. Sorry about that.
I don't recall. Never mind.
I'm glad. I made a dreadful Mike Oldfield joke, but and then you cut me off. But anyway,
that sounds like
I've been a sommelier for 27 years, and I wanted to set you straight regarding...
You've been smelling for 20 years?
That's correct. I have been a sommelier for 27 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's French for smelling.
Yeah, but basically, yes. And I wanted to set you straight regarding rosé wines.
Mm-hmm.
So a few weeks ago, you were speaking about, what's the name of that guy, that dreadful gammon bum slug? I forget his name. I'm terrible with names. Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes.
And you were talking about he had embraced drinking rosé, and you were talking about this whole idea of men drinking rosé or real men drinking rosé being a new thing. That whole movement has been developing for a good decade or so. It even has a
movement.
Yes, seriously, for about the last decade. So much so that the producers across Europe can't keep up with the production. It even has a moniker. It's known as rosé, the whole real men drink rosé movement.
Right, well, here's a good question then, Mr. Sommelier. Why do so many rosé wines come in girly bottles? I know that might sound offensive, but I'm going to repeat it. Why do they come in such girly bottles with the curves and the, and like pictures of flowers, and definitely trying to sell it to women?
True, many of them do, but if you go to a proper wine store, there are many very serious
macho
rosé,
bottles of wine.
No, there are. They're,
with
they're
pictures
really
of
heavy
guns on them. Yes,
probably, and cars, of course. Yeah, but it's honestly, the rosé movement has been growing so much that producers across Europe can't keep up. And I don't know if you know this. It used to be a byproduct of the winemaking process. Winemakers would bleed or saignée the rosé off to concentrate their red wines, and historically that was given away to the field workers and things today. To the field workers today. They make much more. There are many much more refined and structured gastronomic rosé that one can drink all year round.
And the field workers get nothing.
Absolutely nothing these days. But you did say one thing that I agreed with you upon. You were talking about you like the lighter colours of rosés and not the ones that were a little bit more vibrant, I suppose.
Jamie, I have no idea what you're talking about now. You're quoting things that I never said.
You did. You said you were talking about you like the lighter colour rosé.
I didn't. But in my defence, you were drunk at the time, remember?
True. No, I wouldn't say drunk. I would say refreshed.
Right. Refreshed.
Booze.
With drunk.
But I would say that I agreed with this thing that perhaps I imagined you said, and I tend to go for lighter styles of rosé, even though
not the lighter colour, lighter in alcohol content.
You said both.
No, I didn't. What difference does it make what colour it is?
It makes a great difference.
No, it really doesn't make any difference at all, Mr. Smeller. But anyway, appreciate the update to something that I never said. No, I just prefer wine that's doesn't come like syrup. You pick up a bottle of wine and it looks fairly innocent from the front, but then you turn it around the back and it's 15% alcohol. What? I mean, that's cough syrup, that is. No, give me 12%, 12.5 max. Otherwise, I mean, like if you go for lunch, for instance, and you want a bottle of wine, it comes and it's 14%. Then cancel all of my afternoon appointments because I'm not going to make it. It's like an arms race with winemakers, viniculturalists. I bet I got that right. I bet I got that, and even if I didn't, I still got it right. You can't prove that I didn't. All right, thanks a lot, Jamie. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Let me repeat Aaron's text. Who voted for this? Where's the mandate? What the hell is happening? I'm going to get that as my as my alarm setting on my stupid phone. What the hell is happening? That'll wake me up. On that subject, Paul texts, are the clocks going back 200 years? Yeah, I'm afraid so, Paul. Did you not get the memo? And Mark texts, I know Liz Truss tweeted that she would hit the ground on day one, but she never mentioned anything about tunnelling away out of the country from day two. She hit the ground with her face. Let's have a call in Tavistock. Oh, look, how about this? This is a caller called Rose. Can you beat that?
Oh, I see. Hello, Nick.
Can I call you Rosé for the purpose of this call?
Well, I'm normally called Rosie, as a matter of fact. You can do that if you like.
All right.
Yes. Well, first of all, I mean, I just really loved Peter's call.
Which one was that?
That was, I think a couple of calls ago, Peter from Guildford.
Yeah. No, I tuned out for about 5 minutes there. So.
No, you didn't. You thoroughly agreed with everything he said.
Right. Whatever it was. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Well, I just wanted to say that it seems to me, I was thinking this as I was having a walk the other day. Yeah. It seems to me we're ruled by dull, avaricious minds on a path of self-advancement, right, which could have been followed in all sorts of fields. They just happen to be pretending to govern Britain.
Dull, avaricious minds. Dull, avaricious minds with what? What was the rest of it?
Well, but just simply on a path of self-advancement.
A path of self-advancement. Correct, Amundo. Any comments, Budge?
I can't comment on that.
You can't comment on that.
Blah, 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 blah.
And if I may continue, may I carry on? May I carry on?
Carry on.
Yes. Well, you see, the other thing I think is what it is, apart from the part of self-advancement, is it's basically wreck and pillage.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's wreck and pillage.
Well, I describe it as a smash and grab raid. It's not a government, it's a smash and grab raid. It's like a supermarket sweep.
Yes,
they're,
exactly.
they're bouldering around the aisles, trying to stuff as much loot as they can from the shelves into their shopping trolley before the bong goes.
Yes. Or wreck and pillage. You could say either, couldn't you?
No.
Institutions that benefit the people are stripped bare.
Yeah.
And
well,
now,
just wait.
Yes.
They're going to have to find some way
now,
to pay millionaires some of their tax back, and it's going to come from the little people, not leprechauns.
Well, exactly. It's. Oh, I know where we can find savings.
Yeah, poor people.
In the things, I just thought of this earlier. In the things we've spent years diligently wrecking, there are no savings left. Services and welfare.
Well, they've knocked all of our libraries down. Maybe they could get some money for the bricks.
Well, quite. But I had this simplistic idea of what's actually happened, because everyone's sort of saying, oh, you know, did they really think, do they really think this is going to trickle down and all this nonsense? Well, of course they don't. And why are they doing it? I mean, Cameron and Osborne used the financial crash as an excuse, didn't they, for austerity? Well, I think that these people are just creating their own.
Oh, it's going to be austerity on steroids. If you think it's been bad up to this point, just wait.
Yeah, but this is why they've crashed the economy, so that they've got this excuse to do it.
I think it's worse.
Simplistic?
I think it's worse than that. I think that they know that time is up, so they've got a certain amount of hours left on their watch to enrich themselves and their donors as much as humanly possible. After which point they will spend probably the next 5 years at home with their feet up and spending more time with our money.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Yes, they don't really need an excuse, do they? But it can't. There has to be something to stop this. You know, it's criminal level, isn't it?
Well, I'm sorry, but protest is now outlawed, Rose. They fixed that problem before it happened. What else have you got? Hope. They can't take away our hope. Well, actually, they can. Anyway, Rose, never mind. It's just a lie. 0345 6060 973. Hey, have you heard about the Danish royal family? Oh, very bad news. I'll come to that in a minute. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
Dave texts, fog equals visibility less than 1,000 metres. Mist is over 1,000 metres. Then haze, says Dave. So now we know. Huh. Educational, this show, no?
No.
Paul tweets, the Conservative Party is imploding, and after what they've put us through, it's a glorious sight. Yet sadly, Paul, they're not imploding, they're exploding. All over us. Let's have a call in Woolwich. Hello, Richard. Richard?
Oh, hello.
There you are.
Sorry.
Just in time.
Just in time. I was just musing. Do you think Hurricane Ian is it's not ferocious, is it? It's not ferocious.
Well, I wonder if Americans are prepared to believe that it's climate change and not just weather.
Yeah. Do you know, Nick? I've been away for 2 weeks, but
Where?
I've still been.
Where have you been?
I've been in a tent. I just went away during the whole.
You've been in a tent?
Yeah, I just went off. I went wild camping.
What does that mean? What's wild camping?
Just took my tent and just left.
Yeah.
And
where did you go?
I went up to the Lake District, and it was beautiful. But I still had a signal, and I still had you every weekend.
Are you allowed to just pitch a tent wherever you like?
I don't think so. I think it's kind of illegal.
You did it anyway.
I did it anyway, because I'm a rebel, really. But
he's a rebel, and he'll never be any good.
Rock and roll! But I can't believe in the 2 weeks this kind of crazy trajectory we've been on. You know, from the sad loss and all the rest of it, but right the way through to this crazy situation that's been going on with this government. Your show used to be the crazy show, and the politics used to be crazy,
sensible-ish.
but more or less sensible. Yeah.
Now I'm the sensible one.
You're the sensible guy. You are completely rational and articulate as ever. And this,
not really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been wild camping, so you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But no, seriously, I just find it bonkers what's gone on.
Well, in the 2 weeks since you've left, yeah. Don't ever leave again. Who knew that the entire planet was hinging on you being present and correct?
In a tent in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, yeah. Well, that sounds like an excellent destination. I'll see you there. I'll bring the camping gas. All right, Richard? Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. I'll bring the ants, if that's any help. Dave says, definition of trust, a framework made in the simplest form from definition of trust. A framework made in the simplest form from two short planks. Yeah, that's about right. Simon says, an appropriate name for the new Chancellor, Quasi-No-Dough. Oh, he's got plenty of dough. Don't you worry about that. He'll never run out. 0345 6060 973. Let's have East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah. You know the pound crash this week, and I was looking for explanations. So I heard Crispin Erdy explaining that it was Remainers that had shorted the pound in order to crash it because they hated the government. And
no, he did not. He did not say that, did he?
Yeah, he did. And then I got a second explanation, which was Lord Daniel Hannan.
Oh no!
Who was explaining that the pound had crashed?
Let me guess. Did he say something like that?
Something like that, which also included the pound crashed because people were frightened Starmer might get into power.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, funny, no.
And then I was thinking about the explanations we had, because Dennis Healy in the 60s said it was the Noms of Zurich that crashed the pound in the 60s, and the Tories said it was George Soros that crashed the pound in the 90s.
That George Soros gets about a bit, doesn't he? I think he's responsible for World War III, and we haven't even had it yet.
And no one put the blame on Kazi Kwarteng. I mean, it's quite amazing the depth to which they can sink.
The delusion runs deep with this lot, and you haven't even talked about Lord Frost. He said pretty much the same thing as Daniel Hannan. Danny Hannan. Why does anybody pay any attention to these people? They're off their rockers.
Entertaining, if nothing else.
Oh, well, if it wasn't happening to us, it would be really amusing, yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Bad news about the royal family in Denmark. And I suppose by connection, it's bad news for our royal family because they are all, connected. In Denmark, Prince Joachim's children are to be stripped of their royal titles. Oh, no. The children are Prince Nikolai and Prince Felix, who are real people and not just characters in a Disney cartoon. Their mother is in shock after Queen Margrethe II of Denmark announced that her grandchildren, Prince Joachim's sons and daughter, would be stripped of their titles. Alexandra, Countess of Frederiksberg, 58, claimed the decision came like a bolt from the blue, adding that the children now feel ostracised. Right. What, like an ostrich, you mean? They feel like an ostrich? That's weird. According to a statement from her press advisor, Helle von Wildenrath Löwgreen, Alexandra, who is Prince Joachim's ex-wife and shares Nikolai and Felix with the royal, said that they are saddened by the choice. She said, we're all confused by the decision. Well, I'm pretty confused myself. Who are these people and why have we never heard of them before? The Queen, 82, announced the move. This is the Queen of Denmark. 82, she announced the move, saying that she hoped it would allow her grandchildren to shape their own lives without being limited by the special considerations and duties that come with a formal affiliation with the royal family of Denmark. Wherever that is. Nikolai, 23, Felix, 20, and Henrik, 13, and Athena, 10, will have prince and princesses removed from their titles and will no longer be able to use his or her Royal Highness. You think you've got trouble. The children of Prince Joachim will henceforth have to slum it as being known as His Excellency Count of Montpezat or Her Excellency Countess of Montpezat from January the 1st next year. Prince Joachim has said his 4 children have been harmed by their grandmother's decision as he spoke for the first time since the bombshell announcement. Please send your condolences and whatever spare change you have to their excellencies in this, their hour of need. Dig deep. No amount is too small, as long as it's a huge amount. Gaz tweets, have you got yourself a tattoo yet? No. I've heard they're addictive.
Yeah, I'm on about 3 or 4 tattoos a day now, man. But I can handle it. I'm just getting a bit woozy off that ink, that's all.
Let's have Leeds. Hello, John.
Oh, good evening, Nick. How are you?
Great, thanks.
I was going to comment about what's going on today in the economy, but what you said about the Danish royal family. I'm sorry, I've just wiped everything from my mind. I'm so sorry for them.
Well,
it's terrible.
Not get much sleep this evening, and I apologise for the bad news.
Oh, no, never. Thank you. But seriously, no. I wanted to talk about what's going on with the Conservative budget. And cards on the table. I was a young Conservative at university for my sins.
What?
For my sins. That has changed.
A young Conservative at university. Wow, you don't come across them very often.
No, you don't, but there was a few of them where I was. You wouldn't believe it.
Where were you?
University of York.
Right. Oh, well, York.
Oh, I know. Nudge, nudge, wink. I know. The thing is, what I would say is...
what that means, but go on.
No. Fair enough. What I would say is...
You're not a DJ by any chance, are you, John?
No, I'm not. No.
Carry on.
Thank you. No, it's just that I'm actually relatively sympathetic to what they're trying to do in the sense of, stimulate growth, get everything going. But the key thing for me, which I think they haven't realised, is that the British population as a whole isn't that keen on growing the country, or economic growth, if I may say. There's just been a few opinion polls taken in The Economist that show that the average British person doesn't really want economic growth that much. I mean, key example, loads of people voted for Brexit, even though they were warned explicitly it would tank the economy. Fair enough. There have been reports that people are all for things like, building houses and stuff, as long as it's not near them, the old NIMBY problem. And there was an especially interesting thing I saw in The Economist, whereby apparently people were all for economically developing their local town or village, but they would not want, for example, a new university or college built near them if it would bring in more people from outside their local area.
Oh, yeah, people from outside the local area.
Exactly. Terrible thing.
Oh, is that it?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think it's just the sense that, I just think their point of trying to grow the economy, and to an extent I sympathise with what they're trying to do, of course. Yeah. It just feels like it's self-defeating from day one.
Right. Because it doesn't seem to me like they intend on growing the economy at all. That's just something that they say in order to cover their tracks. Because nobody on earth agrees with them that this is the way to grow an economy. Not one single person on Earth right now. You'd have to leave the planet to try to find somebody who agrees with what they're doing. So it can't be that these highly intelligent beings actually think that they're going to grow the economy by giving tax cuts to millionaires, because it has never worked in any place it's ever been tried. So why would it work here now? So you have to think that it is something else that they're doing. Yeah, John, are you sure you're not a DJ?
No, I'm not.
Okay, then. Think about it as a career path. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. I don't know, it's just a bit like, hey, no? Zach text, didn't Steve Allen work in Vienna? I don't know. Why would he work in Vienna? Work, as in operate. As in, requires batteries not included. That kind of work, or work as a job. Keith texts, your new nickname for Liz Truss should be Distrust. Lucy says, I've been given instructions now. You believe it? And Lucy says, is Sajid Javid likely to be praying for a change of PM and the cabinet after the events of the last week in UK politics? Who cares? Who cares what Sajid Javid thinks or wants? Oh, there's just so much to talk about, and I barely know where to begin. And it looks like I've completely wasted an hour and a quarter of your time so far. Oh, well, you'll never get that back. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
The Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
Paul emails a Labour government and a multicultural cesspit hosting... I'll read this in my mind and then see if it's suitable for broadcast. A Labour government and a multicultural... No, it doesn't make any sense at all. But I appreciate you making the effort, Paul. Just don't bother again. Not on my account, anyway. Kev says, did I just hear you correctly when you used the word Toriopath? That word has never slipped past my lips until just now when I read your text. It's not even a word. Mary tweets, I've tried to take my mind off the economic crisis by wondering how birds make love when their bodies and their limb deficit don't seem entirely suited to the task. Or, she says, is this a question for you and Carol's podcast?
No.
No, it is not. No. I don't know how they do it either. How do birds make love? This is not a question that I want an answer to. It's just curious. How do they do it? But they do it. Birds do it. Bees do it. Even educated fleas do it.
Rock and roll!
Simon says, the new name for a right-winger Liz Truss. What about Trussellini? And Ranjit says, guess who's back? I'm a nutcase Farage, he says. What do you mean back? Where did he go? He's back?
I'm a nutcase.
I had no idea he went away. All that time I could have been enjoying myself. Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Oh, hello. I probably sound taken aback, but that's a sort of a mini complaint about your show.
Yes.
When they put you on hold, you see, you're still listening to the callers and you're to and fro with the callers, and then you forget what you had rang up about because you're still listening to the show, even though you're waiting to go on the show. So when you forget you're waiting to go on the show.
Oh, I see.
And you just listen.
It's my fault.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
I'm apologetic.
I would rather have you humming.
Yes.
I would rather have that because it's not taken away from what I rang up originally about.
Well, Brendan,
what
you have to do is you have to make notes. Write it on, jot it down on a little pad. Have you got a pen?
No. Listen, can I say what I rang up, I think, about? Yes, I know what it was. You said that it was like a smash and grab or...
yes, it's a smash and... Not a government, it's a smash and grab raid.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. And I think you used the... I'm not sure if it's... What's the difference between a euphemism and an analogy? So, I don't know. The supermarket...
But the difference, Brendan, is you can say euphemism. Try the other one.
Easy for you to say.
Try the other one again.
Oh, did I get that wrong? Well, whatever. I don't know what the difference is.
You stumbled over it and fell flat in your face.
Well, sure. Everybody learns. Every day is a school day, you know. So nothing wrong with that. Especially on a Friday night talking to you. So you can't anger me. Do you know what I mean? You're giving me time to speak to you.
I have no idea what you mean.
I know.
Anyway,
back at the lunch.
Moving on.
But what is it? When you project an image of the supermarket sweep and Dale Wilton and they're all rolling around before the gong goes, what is it's not a conjecture or a projection or a... Whatever
it's a game show, Brendan. It's a game show.
No, I know that, but what do you call it when you were using it as to explain something? Is it a euphemism or a...
explification.
Wow, I never heard that one.
No, I just made it up.
I know. That's not like you. But the point I was going to make was...
I can't wait till we get to the point. In fact, at this point, I don't believe that there is a point.
There is, and here it is. After 12 years of, I don't know many prime ministers, of Tory austerity, and here got that one right too, didn't I? Austerity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. That's almost how you say it. Go ahead.
I know, but this is Ireland. You have to. We're the little people. You have to allow.
Wow, that's the most offensive thing I've ever heard, Brendan. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Listen, so yes, 12 years of Tory government, and they're still trying to blame Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And there are people falling for it.
Yeah.
Plus, Keir Starmer, he's caught between a rock and a hard place because he cannot possibly want to take power after this.
Well, this is the problem that Labour. Exactly. This is the problem that Labour have. The Tories seem to be on a wrecking spree. They're going to do deals that any future government will not be able to get out of without a massive expense. They're going to sign up these free ports and they're going to let corporations take over giant chunks of this country, and they're going to be long-time contracts, and no future government will be able to undo what this government are doing. This is what I mean by a smash and grab raid. They're running around this country like it's a supermarket, trying to shove everything they can in their basket before the gong goes.
100%. 100%. That's what made me actually ring, because can I just say one thing to you, Nick? You didn't vote for Liz Truss. Okay? I'm going to say you. See when I say you. Right, okay. Unfortunately, I'm under UK law.
Right.
So, we're all in the same boat here, except for the Tories and the millionaires. They're not in the boat.
No.
But the rest
they have their own special boat. In fact, our boat is sinking.
Yeah.
They're in the lifeboats.
Our boat was built in Belfast. It's probably called Titanic. But having said that, the thing is, where was it? See, you keep talking. And then I keep listening when you're talking.
Oh, I see. It's my fault.
Yeah.
Your befuddlement is nothing to do with me, Brendan. You were like that when you got here.
I know. But isn't it great? It's a Friday night.
And who cares?
We don't need to be too...
Exactly.
It's already happened, as you would say.
Right.
So, we may as well just...
Don't say it. I felt I cut him off just in time. Thanks a lot, Brendan. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Luke emails, the budget is like pouring water in the ocean when what you're supposed to do is water the plant in order for it to grow. Wow. You just blown my mind, Luke. Andrew emails, good news, Nick. We can all afford to put our heating on for whenever the banks come round to repossess our homes. We can all now afford to put the heating on for when the banks come round to repossess our homes. That makes no sense. On any level. Nikki texts, has Elon Musk managed to get to Mars yet? Well, if not, he wants to get a move on because I'm off. This country's a mess. What has the one got to do with the other? Has Elon Musk managed to get to Mars yet? Well, if not, he wants to get a move on because I'm off, says Nikki. Where are you going? Oh, here's that noise again. How can a door... I'm not kidding, it's 6 inches thick. They don't have doors this thick in the Bank of England. The nation's gold reserves do not reside behind a door that's thicker than the one to this studio, and I can hear everything that's happening in the corridor outside. How's that? 0345 60. If you think you can be heard over the racket that's in the corridor, 0345 6060 973. You're going to have to talk up. Wayne emails, listener with material, please read this out if it's funny enough. Don't get it. Don't get it. So it's not funny, and I don't get it. No jokes. Dave emails, is it unfair to say that Liz Truss is superficially stupid? People keep saying that, the government are making these terrible mistakes, and they keep making the same mistake over and over, and they keep making the poor poorer and the rich richer. It's just such a terrible mistake that they keep making. How can it be a mistake? You're looking at it entirely the wrong way. It's not a mistake. It's the plan. People are running around holding their heads in their hands going, how are they making this error all the time? It's not an error. The error is how you are thinking about it. They're saying, they haven't learned from their mistakes. Yes, they have learned from their mistakes. They weren't mistakes, and they've learned from them that they can do anything they like and get away with it, as long as they point to some a small identifiable group of people that are worse off than you are, and with whom they can blame everything that ails you. That was a very convoluted sentence, but I think you get what I mean. And that's what I keep saying this, and this is coming to a location near you soon. That is what they're going to run their campaign to win the next general election on, if they are actually mad enough to want to continue to run this country after the fire sale that has taken place under their watch. I mean, literally a fire sale. If this country were a shop, it'd have its front window in. It would have had all its stock looted, and it would be on fire right now. Why would anybody want to take over that shop? But assuming that they do want to, just cling on in order to keep their jobs, that's what they're going to run the next election on. The war on woke. They're going to have to really dial it up, because unless they talk really loudly, you won't be able to hear them over the sounds of a roaring flame and breaking glass. 0345 6060 973. On the other hand, there's a poll that came out. Have you seen this? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. What people think. Here's what people think. I think that's pretty accurate, actually. There's a political poll that's come out, and I'll deal with that in just some moments. But first, at just past 11:30, the news headlines on LBC with Daryl Jackson.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Given we're doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
In which we try to solve people's problems while laughing our faces off. In the whole week, the hour in which I laugh the most, and her too, is the one in which we do our podcast. It's available on the World Wide Web for anybody that cares to look it up. It's about an hour long, comes out on Mondays. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol. Now, if you want us to have a bash at your issue, then you must send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol @global.com, and gird yourself for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol. You'll find it on Global Player, like all the other podcasts I do.
Oh, right, yeah.
0345 6060 973. I've got poll news, which is huge. Big, huge. East London first. Alison.
Hi, Nick.
Alison.
Hello. Similar to your last caller, I've sort of lost my train of thought. But the Danish royal family. Yeah. I mean, this wasn't what I was going to say, but I feel like they're just sort of maybe trying to get a piece of the pie. You know how you had a kind of epiphany over the recent events with our, and you became a royalist.
Well, no, let's not get carried away. I didn't become a royalist. I just thought because the government of this country seems to be intent on smashing this land to bits, one of the things that we have that other countries don't have is a royal family that the rest of the world could recognise if they were part of a lineup. So I thought, well, why throw that away while we've got Blundertrust and Crazy who are trying to sink the nation, at least one thing we have that nobody else has got would be the royal family. So why chuck them away?
Well, yeah.
I mean, he should pay tax on his inheritance, which would be big, huge. But apart from that, there's no need for throwing away all of the folderol that accompanies them around. Men with feathers in their hats and the clip clocking and the horses and the carts and all that.
Yeah. And I think that's what the other kind of less recognisable royal families in Europe have observed, and they've gone, hold on, can we get a piece of the pie? Because the story about that, the Queen taking away whatever, it's just a bit.
Alison, what is it that you're saying? Are you saying that the other royal families in Europe have seen the new king's sparkly hat and they want one too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or maybe they want a Netflix series.
Right. Well, they should be careful what they wish for, because it might not necessarily show them in a good light.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's all they've got, really, long term.
Well, nobody has ever really even thought about the royal family of Denmark, or Denmark, as a matter of fact. What can you tell me about Denmark, Alison? I'll guess nothing. Bacon. Bacon.
I think their money has a hole in it. Some of the coins had holes in them.
Really?
Is that right? I think that. I don't know.
Well, I don't know whether it's right or not, Alison, but it doesn't prevent it from being a fact.
Well, that's all I can.
Their money has a hole in it. Well, whose doesn't? All right, thanks a lot, Alison. 0345 6060 973. Educational, this show, no?
No.
Tom says, Crazy, Kwarteng and Blundertrust are literally selling England by the pound.
Rock and roll!
Yep. Yeah, they are. I mean, the amount of foreign takeovers that we are experiencing in this country, they call it inward investment, but it's not really investment at all. It's people coming over here and buying our stuff right out from underneath us. This is the... see which paper you think that this is from. Among the myriad headaches for Liz Truss's new government is that a rock-bottom pound once again turns UK PLC into sitting ducks after scores of British companies were picked off at will by cash-rich overseas predators during the pandemic. Sitting ducks we are. Fee-hungry investment bankers will exploit the situation to the maximum. Some of the most senior London-based deal-makers have been spotted jetting back and forth from New York to London to present ideas for transatlantic mergers to their Wall Street counterparts and acquisitive American chief executives. Armed with trillions of dollars, private equity remains on the hunt for targets too. So everything that we still own, which is not much, but things that are British, that are still owned by British people, are being bought up by foreigners because the pound is so cheap that everything in this country has got a for sale sign on it. Analysts recently drew up a list of 100 companies that it considers to be targets for these foreign takeovers, including, but not limited to, ITV, Next, Greggs, defence giant BAE Systems, and Flutter, the gambling outfit behind Paddy Power and Betfair. Will it be taken over? Place your bets. Bet nah. The FTSE 250 looks particularly exposed, which is a real worry because it contains some high-tech companies and several high-growth sectors. With US stocks tending to trade in a much higher earnings ratio than their UK counterparts, American acquirers will be emboldened by the prospect of a double takeover discount on these shores. We're just selling off everything cheap. Inbound deal... Here's the crucial bit. Inbound deal activity always presents something of a dilemma for whoever is in power, but that is particularly the case for this government. Brexit Britain has yet to live up to its billing as a beacon of foreign investment, and the temptation will be to present a sudden influx of overseas bids as evidence of the UK's attractiveness abroad. But ministers must resist the urge to indulge in such spin. A foreign-led takeover frenzy is not a vote of confidence in this country's prospects. More likely it means that savvy investors see the UK as easy pickings and have spotted an opportunity to make a quick buck. Besides, the consequences of overseas ownership are now well known. Accountability is the biggest problem. Often it's near impossible, as the fate of Britain's water suppliers has shown. Deprived of investment for years, while foreign owners pay themselves generous dividends, customers have been left dramatically shortchanged. Not to mention the sewage.
Disgusting.
The downsides of the buyout model are arguably even more familiar. Private equity executives generate huge returns for themselves through a short-term combination of financial engineering, asset sales and cost-cutting, often at the expense of the underlying business and, of course, everyone that works for them. Which newspaper was that? Which lefty, Ramona, activist, communist newspaper was this? The Daily Telegraph. The Conservative Party's Daily Telegraph said that. They are ripping themselves to shreds. Here's a poll. Maybe I haven't got time before the break to read this to you. I'll give you the headline. A YouGov poll on voting intention. The Greenies on 6.
Groovy.
The Groovy Greenies have got 6. That's down 1. Poor Greenies. What have they done to deserve 1% less than they had this time last month? The Lib Dems are on 7. That's down 2. The Tories on 21. What? 21%. Wow. And that, maths fans, means that the Labour Party are on 54%. 54%. That's up 9 from this time last month. I am stunned. And the thing that occurred to me when I saw that the Labour Party are on 54 and the Tories are on 21, is how are Labour going to manage to lose this now? Because their speciality is pulling a disaster from the jaws of success. So they are going to have to work overtime to fight amongst themselves in order to rub away that lead. But my money's on them. My money's on them doing just that. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they'll do it. They'll probably start arguing about whose hairstyle is the best. Hey, Keir.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
0345 6060 973. Paul tweets, Truss and Kwarteng had a meeting with the Office for Budget Responsibility today, which is like turning on your sat-nav after driving into a river. Turn to starboard at the next tributary. This car is going down. Jerry emails, remembering Boris's last words in the Commons chamber, hasta la vista, baby. Will Boris indeed be coming back to rescue us all from the perhaps car crash that is Liz Truss and her co-driver Crazy Kwarteng? Meanwhile, we await the event on November the 23rd. Can't they resign before that? Resign? They'll be lucky not to get sacked. Barnett. Hello, Gloria.
Good evening, Nick.
Gloria.
I've nearly fallen off the bed. I'm so tired now.
Oh, never mind.
Stop whining.
Go ahead.
I know. I wanted to ask you, do you think we're at the cutting edge of disaster?
Do you mean the cusp? The cusp of disaster? Everywhere you look, there's warning signs.
Warning, warning.
It sounds like we're in the midst of it.
Oh, my God.
It might have already happened, Gloria. We'll only know in the future looking back, assuming that there is a future.
I don't know yet, but we'll find out.
We'll find
soon,
out when we get there,
We'll find out in the future.
Exactly.
Can I ask you something?
No.
Why does everybody ask you how you are? Are they not listening to the programme that everybody's asking you, how are you?
Gloria, my health fluctuates from moment to moment. It's a pertinent question, and
Is it your blood pressure?
I'm glad to receive it. Well, I haven't checked it lately, but maybe. if I've still got any blood left, then
There's a pill. There's a pill
for that. Yeah, no doubt. Is it yellow or green or orange? I like the orange ones the best.
Oh, right. It depends if you can get through to the doctor to get one.
No, you can't. The doctor says he's coming, but you've got to pay in cash. All right, thanks a lot, Gloria. 0345 6060 973. Pat tweets, the Truss regime is off to a fine start. The mini-budget crashed the economy like a demolition derby. So to calm the panic, the Lizbot went on a tour of radio interviews as reassuring as a burning parachute. We're in safe hands, like those of a chainsaw juggler, says Pat. Yeah, we're being run by a Dalek.
That is a disgrace.
Chris says, I've heard a few conspiracy theories about Truss, but I can reveal the truth now. The Lib Dems have activated their sleeper agent. What a way to run a country, eh? The Labour Party are on 54, the Conservatives on 21. That's the latest YouGov poll. This would give Labour a 480-seat majority if repeated at a general election, which is a stonking majority, eh, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Some of the following Conservative MPs might end up losing their seats. You ready? Liz the Brains Truss, for one. Bodger Johnson, out on his ear. Crazy Kwarteng, gone. Jacob Me Smug, out. Therese Coffin, gone. Again, with a noise outside. Michael Gove might be gone.
Major capital letters, big news story.
James Not Very Cleverly. Hans Hancock. And Jeremy Hunt. Be very careful with the pronunciation with Jeremy Hunt. Oh, and Dominic Raab.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
Wouldn't that be an absolute tragedy for the nation if we lost those outstanding ministers?
No.
And it's not just one poll that puts Labour way out in front. 4 separate polls give Labour a record-breaking lead over the Tories. 4 major polling companies all simultaneously said it has the highest lead they've ever recorded for Keir Starmer's party after turmoil on the markets. Hang on a minute. There's something in the air. 4 major polling companies all simultaneously said it was the highest lead they had ever recorded for Starmer's party after turmoil on the markets, which, by the way, was not because of the cack-handed flailing about of Crazy and Blunder Truss, but was, in fact, Labour's fault.
What?
Yeah. Daniel Hannan, the Brexit fundamentalist, actually said that after the mini financial event that Crazy imposed on us, that it was in fact the possibility of a future Labour government that was behind the current economic crisis. And almost as though they were copying and pasting from the same email, Lord Ashcroft, he tweeted that he had been told fears of a Labour government were fueling the economic crisis. And to think that some people imagine them to be not that bright. Daniel Hannan, one of the key voices behind the push to leave the EU, wrote on the Conservative Home website, "What we have seen since Friday is partly a market adjustment to the increased probability that Keir Starmer will win in 2024 or 5, leading to higher taxes, higher spending and a weaker economy." Ashcroft tweeted that he was told by a currency trader that a driver to sell sterling was due to a concern that Labour would form the next government. Or to put it another way, they said, these people are out of their minds if they think that the British people are as daft as to believe that the finance racket was reacting to something that might happen in 2 years rather than to what had just happened. This is not Minority Report. They're not predicting the future. They're reacting to the right now. And so are the people of the land. Finally, they've been roused from their slumber. Look at the polls. Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. A YouGov survey for The Times put the Labour Party on a 33-point lead. I am stunned. That's a 21-year record. Conservation gave Labour a 21-point lead, while Redfield and Wilton Strategies recorded a 17-point lead, and Delta Poll, a survey for the Mirror, gave Labour a 19-point lead over the Tory party. All four results count among the biggest Labour leads in modern history, ahead of the next election, which Liz Truss has said will happen in 2024. I bet it doesn't. Anyone want to take a small bet that it doesn't happen in 2024? Or 2025? There'll be an emergency of some sort, and for the benefit of the people, Liz Truss will be very clear that we can't have an election right now. But you know what? It's a but. Sorry about this, but it's a giant wobbly but. Labour are ahead of the Tories in every region and in every age and social group, except the over 65s, leave voters, retired people and homeowners who have paid off their mortgages.
Oh, no.
Those are the people that vote. That's what the big but's about. People that still are backing the Tory party, still believing in the dream, those are the people that vote. The over 65s, leave voters, retired people and homeowners who have paid off their mortgages. And those people will go out and vote if they have to struggle through Vladimir Putin's nuclear fallout. It's why we keep getting the party that most people in the land don't want. Because everyone under the age of 65 can't be bothered to vote in as many numbers as the oldies. And why? It's like, I can't be bothered. Voting's so boring. I don't want to do it today, I'll go next week. They're all the same. I don't like Starmer's hair. You know, any excuse not to walk 2 minutes down to the road to the polling station. Kids just won't do it. But those people who can't be bothered won't sink Labour's chances all by themselves, of course. Labour will need help to sink their own chances. Unfortunately for the Tories, the Labour Party will sink its own chances for them. A 33-point lead is pretty big, but not big enough that the various factions of the Labour Party can't wrestle with themselves and pull chunks out of each other in a contest of purity until that lead disappears. Which means we'll be stuck with a minority-supported Tory government led by a Dalek with 100% of the power forever.
That is a disgrace.
0345 6060 973. Bermondsey. Hello, David.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, I just want to talk about the Conservatives leaving if they leave.
Go on.
Nick, they took us out of Europe, of course, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that we can apparently trade elsewhere.
Yeah. With Mongolia. We just signed an excellent trade deal with Mongolia.
Yeah, it's heartening to know that.
Yeah.
But to me, Nick, that is like saying that there is a hypermarket where although you have got to pay a surcharge, you can get everything you want. But instead, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to get everything from a corner shop 200 miles away. And I feel sorry, Nick, for any party that comes in that's got to deal with this situation.
You know, I don't really know why Liz Truss would want to be Prime Minister or any of her ministers underneath her would want to be in their position, unless the plan is to strip mine this country, to stuff as much as they can in their metaphorical shopping trolley before the bong goes. And then they'll be out of there with their pockets bulging in order to spend more time with our money and let somebody else come in and clear it up. It's like it's like the old the Etonian schoolboy goes into a sweet shop, sets fire to it, stuffs his pockets with gobstoppers, and then runs out and blames the next kid that goes in for the chaos that he's caused.
Yes. And Nick, I mean, Europe is not perfect. I think it's become too big. I really do.
Europe has become too big. How many miles across would you like it to be?
No, the European Union. But I thought just to leave it and just think we can do deals with Mongolia, as you say. It's just so ludicrous.
Well, I don't know. Let's not poo-poo Mongolia. I'm sure that we'll be doing great business with Yak Futures or something. Yak markets. That's what Liz Truss will be boasting about next. She's conquered pork markets. Yak markets are next. Thanks a lot, David. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking.
Oh, hello. 0345 6060 973. This is an article from the Financial Times. The Tories have become unmoored from the British people. The government may have adopted the most extreme economic position of any major party in the developed world. In a single week, Britain has gone from being one among many nations facing fierce economic headwinds to being a financial basket case. Its currency plunging, bond yields and mortgage rates rising, and pension funds scrambling to stay afloat. There was a lot of financial, insider talk. What's the word? Like gobbledygook that the financial types say to each other, and I had absolutely no idea what they were talking about, but it all seemed very, very bad. Last Friday's tax cuts were an unforced fiscal error, says the Financial Times. It signals a departure from sensible economic thinking. We went from sensible economic thinking to this. A week into Trussonomics, one could make the case that this represents the first time in modern history that the government of a major developed country has decided to completely unmoor itself from not only economic orthodoxy but its own electorate. Every few years, hundreds of political scientists evaluate political parties on various issues, from the environment to law and order, gender issues and the redistribution of wealth. As part of this, they place these parties along the left-right scale of economics, with the far left indicating full-blown Jeremy Corbyn, Boo! And the far right being the most extreme low-regulation, low-tax, free-market approach. Now, until last week, the Conservative Party looked a relatively normal centre-right party on economics. Quite normal, Bodge. Yes. Then, Friday happened. Then it all changed. In a snap Financial Times survey of a group of British political scientists across the political spectrum, the consensus was that Prime Minister Liz Truss and Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng, the Tories now score a stunning 9.4 out of 10. This puts them beyond where the Republicans stood under Donald Trump and just to the right of the Brazilian Jair Bolsonaro. Wow. We've got the most right-wing, economically speaking, government in the world. And nobody voted for them. Out of 275 parties in 61 countries, the Tories rank as the most right-wing of all. And people say that the right wing will never take over in this country. Well, wake up, it's happened already. On the same economic scale where Truss's government now scores a 9.4, the average UK voter positions themselves as a 3.1. The average Conservative voter a 4.2. The Tories have plotted a course to the very edge of the economic map, and when they scan the horizon, there is nobody to be seen. And you know, that's the Financial Times. Those lefty communist activists at the Financial Times. And you know, when absolutely no one is going in the direction that you've taken, a sensible person might pause and think that maybe absolutely everybody might know something you don't. A lunatic that's joined a cult and drank the Kool-Aid can convince themselves that everything is going fine as they march confidently to the edge of the cliff. And that would be okay if they weren't dragging the whole country after them, when none of us said we wanted to go that way, and we didn't even put them in charge. They just took over the decision-making like we'd voted them in which we hadn't. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Bolton. Hello, Kate.
Hello?
Kate.
Hello, yes.
Yes, Kate.
Right. What I wanted to talk about was, first of all, people have forgotten that when the Labour Party were in last time, they left a note. No money left.
No money left. Yeah, well, we haven't got any money now either. That was a joke at the time, but go on.
Yeah. And then this trust also made a thing that if you're a foreigner and you want to buy something over here, you don't have to pay that on it. Now, that's 20%, whatever it is. But why couldn't they have split that and said that's at 10% for everybody?
When you're a foreigner and you want to buy something over it, are you talking about like a shirt or the company that makes a shirt?
No, I'm talking about the fact that she said that there would be no VAT on foreigners coming across to buy stuff.
Right.
But why didn't she do 10% VAT throughout? Then at least our country could have had a bit of money. People could buy a few more things.
Right. But tourists, you mean? Is that what you mean? Tourists?
Tourists.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next thing is that they want to have, as soon as possible, and they can do it within the next 12 months, a vote of no confidence in trust.
In the next 12 months? I'd be surprised if they didn't do it in the next 12 days.
Well, I believe they can't do for some reason, some law that they have to do it after 12 months. But that will still give them time for them to show what they want to do. And those mealy-mouthed Conservatives who voted to get her in and who voted to hang Boris out to dry, it's about time they got the head right.
Yeah, Boris hung Boris out to dry. People talk about him like he never did anything wrong. The things that he did wrong are too long to listen to a brief 3-hour show. He is the fault that he got the axe.
But he had what people wanted.
Which was what?
He had guts.
He had guts?
Yes,
That's the absolute opposite of the truth, Kate. He had no guts at all. He just got blown around like a rudderless ship.
No, he did a lot of good.
Like?
Well, first of all, he got Brexit through when
Oh, my God. No, he did not, Kate. Brexit is not done, nor will it ever be done.
It will.
But now, hang on a minute. You're just arguing with yourself now. You said he got Brexit done. I said, no, he hasn't. He said he will. So, by your own admission, Brexit is not done.
He will complete what he wanted to do because he's not without a brain. And if he was only there as an advisor, I know that they could.
He was there as an advisor to whom?
No, he was to be an advisor. He didn't go for it.
He didn't go for what?
He didn't go to BPM.
He didn't go to BPM. He wanted to be the advisor of a prime minister.
No,
what on earth makes you think that?
No, listen. If he was to come back,
no,
he wouldn't take that risk. So, but what he could do, he could advise people because he has a brain and he knew.
Are you kidding me? He's a he's going to be in the background advising somebody in the spotlight. You don't know him very well, do you?
Yes, I do. I never met him personally.
Oh, well, it doesn't make never mind one way or the other. You can't possibly be more wrong about him if you tried. He's not going to be the advisor in the background. That's not who he is. He's a spotlight man. He doesn't like anybody taking the limelight from him.
But and
another thing.
At their conference, they didn't mention the unions. Well, they think about strikes now. But if they get in again, all these people will be wanting 10% rise, 15% rise.
Which is quite right. If inflation is 10%, then 10% should be the absolute minimum they get in order to just stand where they are. People don't go on strike because they like going on strike. They go on strike because they are being screwed by the man, Kate.
Oh, we are not being screwed by anybody else, are we?
No. No, our problems rest within the confines of these islands. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Anyway, Kate, I appreciate the call. Kind of all politically all over the place, but, entertaining. Thanks, Kate. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, I do believe it's all Labour's fault. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. See what you've done? Bill! Paul says, I'm beginning to mourn the days when all we, the general public, had to worry about was an MP getting caught with someone else's knickers on. Now we have to worry about that, post-COVID, war, economic war, energy crisis, possible global recession, Cruella Braverman, and more. Thank goodness for Trust and Crazy. Be afraid, be very afraid, and don't get me started on Daniel Hannan, says Paul. OK, then. What do you think about Daniel Hannan? AJ texts, do you know what is the point of Labour when they're not allowed to be true socialist? The point of Labour is to get into power and then enact policies that benefit the little people, not leprechauns. Jez says, Labour ahead, and by that method, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about with the Labour Party. They'll beat each other up before the next general election. Some elements of the left are doing it at this moment. Determined not to get in unless the Labour Party passes a purity test. They'd rather lose than allow a non-perfect, in their minds, Labour Party to acquire power. Morons. We're surrounded by morons. Jez says, Labour ahead in the polls. It's a bit weird for the socialists, I imagine, like entering MasterChef and winning with a pot noodle. I don't quite get your illusion there. And Josh texts, doesn't it make you feel sick that Cameron, May, Johnson and Truss will all be collecting a prime ministerial pension and bodyguards for life too? Yeah, it does make me a little bit sick to think of that, yeah. A little bit sick. I'm feeling bilious. A little bit. Still not missing you, Dave.
I think this is nonsense.
But we know where to find you if we do. You'll be in the shed where they keep the tools. 0345 6060 973. Let's see who's been waiting the longest. Be totally fair about this. Camden. Hello, Claire.
Hi, Nick.
Claire.
We have been unfair towards Liz Truss.
Oh, no.
Because she has been suffering in silence for us. In the midst of all this wallpaper around her.
Oh.
It makes one feel dizzy and inebriated.
Well, talking about feeling bilious, if you just take a quick peek at the interior design that they fashioned in number 10, then you'll probably never want to eat again.
Yeah. It's claustrophobic.
Well, it's mind bending. It makes your eyes go cross. There's so many patterns in there. It's preposterous. Why would anybody pay anybody to make a place look like that?
It's impossible to live there.
If I was Liz Truss, I'd paint the whole thing magnolia. Just paint over it, Liz.
Did she have any time to change the decor? The decor.
Yeah. Oh, she's got plenty of time. I mean, she's all out of ideas. give the rich more money, and the end. So that's the end of her interest in this position.
Cam, do you think the previous couple in number 10? Do you think they can profit from this piece of I don't know what? Like the Berlin Wall, there were people who were taking chunks from the Berlin Wall.
Mm-hmm. Well, if there's a skip outside number 10, there's probably some very, very expensive cushions in it that you could make off with, sell on eBay for an absolute fortune, no doubt about that.
Yeah, otherwise it served nothing. It was just for. Was it there for a month or several?
I don't know, but either way, we paid for it. Huge amounts of money.
And also, I can explain about the mini budget if you want.
The mini budget, yes, please explain it. And I want you to talk to me as though I'm 5. And this won't be too much of a stretch, Claire. Talk to me like I'm an idiot. Explain the mini budget if you wouldn't mind.
No, I don't. I mean, you're very intelligent, but it's not a mini budget. It's a quasi budget.
Oh, I see what you did there.
This means semi.
Semi.
Not finished. Yeah.
Right.
Half.
Right. Okay, so we're still waiting for the other shoe to drop. All right, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Claire. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Hey, have I done the break yet? Have I done the break yet? He's not listening. Have I done the break yet?
No.
No? Now, there is a man that's on the ball. I'm supposed to be doing this show and I've got no idea what's going on. Oh, nobody should be listening to this programme. The host is completely out of control. He's inept. 0345 6060 973. By the way, if you want to listen to this show more quickly than it goes out, then there is a way of doing it. It's called the Nick Abbot Whole Show podcast. Now, we take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to, so you'll use less electricity, and you'll still faint when your bill comes in. But every little helps. If you go to Global Player, then you'll find that it is under the Nick Abbot Whole Show podcast, which is different from the Nick Abbot Whole Show catch-up, the listen again thing. Now, I know it's confusing that it's on the same thing twice, but if you listen to the podcast, then we take the news and the ads out, so considerably less time. I think you'll love it. And it's only available on Global Player now. It's exclusive to Global Player. The podcast of this show and the Saturday night show, only available on Global Player. You can get Global Player for free for PC, Android and Apple. It can just be on your computer screen like a normal web page. But if you want to stick it up your stupid phone, then it is available as an app. Apps, baby. It's the future. Global Player. Get it for free at an internet near you. And if you want to listen to this show more quickly than it goes out, then it's the Nick Abbot Whole Show podcast.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbot.
Everything is going extremely well.
Very, very badly. Kath texts have Truss and Crazy realised that they're not playing Monopoly yet. It's real money they're losing and real people's lives they're ruining. She has definitely hit the ground. But at least she's not afraid to be unpopular. Yeah, she keeps saying that. I have been very clear that I will make decisions that might make me unpopular. Well, job done, Liz. I think at this point in her premiership, she is the most unpopular Prime Minister that we have ever had in this country. I think that's actually right. Name a more unpopular Prime Minister at this point in their premiership than Liz Truss. I don't think you'll find one. Bodmin, Malcolm.
Hey, Nick, mate. Yeah. Nick, couple of things.
Couple of three things.
I'm struggling here in Cornwall to hear you. It's like you're broadcasting from a bar and the jukebox is drowning you out.
God, wouldn't that be marvellous?
Booze.
Yes. Is it because of the weather?
No, it's the background noise, my friend.
Oh.
In your studio, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. There was a lady just now screaming, and your colleague said he had trouble throwing her out, apparently.
I have no idea what you're talking about. There was an incident here, and I missed it? Oh,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, there was a woman's voice, Nick, in the background.
I do not recall that.
Anyway, Nick, the bitter irony. I almost, but I don't feel sorry for Jeremy Corbyn. You're Jeremy Corbyn against the biggest liar we've ever had as a Prime Minister. And he got absolutely trounced in a general election.
Yeah.
Absolutely
stonking majority, Bodgergard.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yep.
80-seat majority, lying through his teeth. You've got Keir Starmer with a 33-point lead in one poll, an average of 20.
Yeah.
And he's up against a woman who told us 10 years ago what she was going to do. That the people of Britain are lazy, and they're being way overpaid, so on and so forth. And here we are. She's there. She's won, and she's not going to be there long. And it's absolutely poetic.
Well, I wouldn't take bets on that. Like, if Donald Trump, for instance, had won the last election, and it's indicative to talk about Donald Trump, because the same people that put him in power, put the Conservative Party in power, put Bodger in power, are behind Liz Truss, and have delivered us Brexit. How's Brexit going, by the way?
Dreadful.
That's what I thought. So it's the same. Hang on a minute. It's the same people, and if Donald Trump ever runs and wins again, that will probably be the last time that there will ever be an election in America. At least one that is borderline fair. I mean, they're actively trying to undermine the next election as I speak, trying to get people voted for, elected, who will then be responsible for the counting of the votes. And they're already like QAnon dribbling nutters who are convinced that, or at least are pretending to be convinced, that Donald Trump actually won the last election, and it's only the evil forces of the activist lefties who usurped him and chucked him out. So if he ever gets in again, then that will be the last free and fair election that America ever runs. And I would not be surprised at all if the Tories came up with some reason why we could not have an election in the prescribed manner and time. It will be some emergency that Liz Truss will be very clear that it is in the interests of hard-working people doing the right thing that there will be no further elections in this country.
Well, you've been saying, Nick, for years that Labour defeated themselves. They'll do everything in their power to lose an election. But I see, well, I don't seriously think it's pretty much a fact now that they're going to win. Labour are going to win. You cannot lose from this position. I
bet they can. They can. There's a large section of those on the centre to the left who would prefer to stew on the sidelines, just glorying in the ecstasy of losing, rather than win with an imperfect Labour Party.
If that 33-point lead is halved, Nick, you're looking at a 16.5-point lead, and you don't lose from this.
Well, the Tories wouldn't lose from that, but I would bet a small amount of money that Labour could fashion a way to yank disaster from the jaws of success.
No.
And the way that the system is set up, hang on a minute, the way that the system is set up is that the Tories only have to get, I think, 5% more to get a massive majority. The Labour Party have to get something like, well, at least double that to squeak a majority. So it's against them to start with.
I've been talking to you, Nick, about Brexit, about the Johnson era. For about 6 years, I've been ringing in your show.
Have we solved it yet?
And I've been saying since before Starmer won the leadership, and I actually joined the Labour Party in order to get at least my vote, to get it off my chest, to get rid of help it be rid of bloody Corbyn, and he's there, and he's different class, Nick, and the people of Britain are waking up to it. I've been.
I'm not sure about that. I'm still convinced that people aren't voting for him; they're voting against the Tories, because I just don't think he presents an attractive enough proposition.
I think the last fortnight, Nick, through the Queen thing, Labour with the national anthem and all of this, they're just bringing the party back into where they need to be, in the centre ground, making all of the right noises. Politics.
I don't know. I mean, to me, that having the national anthem at the beginning of why would they do that now? That's just some. It's being petrified of doing the wrong thing rather than being confident of doing the right thing. They are petrified. It's like they're stuck in their headlights, terrified to move.
But Nick, a lot of what Corbyn wanted was the right thing, but Corbyn was unelectable. Let's be honest here.
Well, Corbyn was unelectable because people like the Murdoch press and the Telegraph and the Mail and all of those, the offshore billionaire right-wing media owners, they didn't want him anywhere near power because, I suspect, that he once said that he would look at the concentration of many news titles in the hands of very few owners. And at that point, he sealed his demise because they levelled their guns at him and started pounding him on a daily basis.
No, they were afraid of his policies. But the problem now, Nick, is that the sorts of policies he wanted and the policies that I want, the Labour Party needs, these are the things now that most of the nation want. They want their energy in safe hands. They want their railways not being run for extortionate profit. Well, you can say that about all the formerly nationally owned.
Right. I don't think he's. But I don't think he's talking about renationalising any of those things, is he?
Well, hey, you reminded me. About 4 weeks ago, we spoke, and I said to you that what the Tory party should do is set up a not-for-profit utility company, an energy supplier.
And the Tory party stopped listening at not-for-profit. Not remotely interested. Malcolm, I'm past the news, so I'm going to have to go. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973.
This is LBC with Nick Abbot.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
This radio show, dear. Bart Williams tweets, I will put my house against yours that the Labour Party will win the next election, even without a majority. Well, they will try to fashion some way of losing, because that's their speciality. Richie texts, I used to hide behind the sofa when the Daleks came on TV. I did the same yesterday. Why is that?
That is a disgrace.
Liz texts, don't be worried. We will be having a new leader called Putin soon. Yeah, nothing to be alarmed about. Rootin' tootin' shootin' Putin's going to be our new glorious leader. Pearly. Christine.
Hello, Nick.
Christine.
What can I say? I do enjoy listening to you a lot, and I'm glad you teamed up with Karen McGiffin because you give me a laugh and a half.
Thanks.
Right. That's all right. Really, I phoned up. I got so mad for the first time ever about what's going on now. I had to call you. I don't tell anybody my politics ever.
But?
Never voted Labour in my life, but I would now vote for Keir Starmer if Wes Streeting was there as well.
Wes Streeting?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Wes Streeting? Apart from that, he's the shadow health secretary. He certainly does seem to have a more of a strong relationship with health than Therese Coffin.
Yeah. But I've recently come across him through James O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very impressed. And I started following him on Twitter.
Right.
And remained impressed, and more so now. And if he teamed up with Keir, and they are the dream team. For me, they would be the dream team. And I would vote Labour for the first time ever. That what I would admit to. I've never voted Labour. Not knowingly, anyway. I can't think of something.
Not knowingly. Not knowingly.
No. I'm sort of boring middle of the road. I'm afraid. I used to be a Liberal fan of a certain Jeremy, and he let me down in lots of ways, found out lots about him. But, people like that, I could easily vote for. But I never tell anybody who I vote for. But I would, up till today.
If it was Keir Starmer and Wes Streeting, that's the dream team.
Yes, they're the dream team. And also, Chris Philp is local to me, and I was very impressed with him. He's
come
local
off it.
Boy. No, whoa, let me say, he's a local boy done good. And I've come across him In my personal life and his family, and they're a lovely family.
I don't care.
And they live. Hang on a minute. They live just up the road.
Yeah.
And I've watched what he did. And,
I don't care how lovely he is.
But when I found out he was brown-nosing Mr. Johnson, who I've got a name for.
It's
as soon as I found out, I've gone right off him, and I've made it quite clear to him. I would never vote for him again.
Never vote for him again. Take that, Chris Philp. All right, thanks a lot, Christine. 0345 6060 973. Jess emails, it does seem that we've been governed by the Addams family these last few years. May was odd, and Boris tried and failed to mask his peccadillos.
Disgusting.
With superficial charm, but Truss seems downright peculiar. She does. That's just a fact. She does. There's more. When you add nanny-loving pencil-neck Rees-Mogg, spivvy Shaps, fascist dwarf... Wow, okay, so I can't really say that. And human oil slick Sunak into the mix. It looks a lot more like a real horror than a comedy. Be afraid. Be very afraid. It's happening to you now. It's like you walked in on the wrong film. You wanted a rom-com and you got a horror show. Dan texts, I spoke with you at length 9 months ago, and my question was, when are we going to have the spring inquiry into PPE and £37 billion track and trace? And what's Dido Harding doing today? I don't know, laughing? Maybe she's just laughing. What do you think, Budge?
Contact tracing.
Oh, give it up, mate. You're never going to get it. 0345 6060 973. Cannock. Hello, Mel.
All right, mate, how are you?
What?
I said, how are you?
Oh, I'm super. Thanks for asking.
I would just say, the thing that's buggered the Tories up is what happened in the vote for the next leader when Sunak thought he would beat Truss but wouldn't beat Mordaunt. So they lent Truss votes to push Truss into second place. And he come unstuck. Because I don't think he thought he could beat Mordaunt.
Right, well,
that's my gist on it from what I was watching.
I have no idea what to say to that.
And I think Mordaunt would have probably made a decent Prime Minister.
Oh, please.
I actually like her.
What do you like about her?
I just like her. I heard her talk. She can... I've seen her absolutely destroy Rayner and the SNP.
Well, I didn't see that myself.
She can talk, I'll give her that.
I only have your word on that.
It's all on YouTube.
On YouTube. Another giant waste of time. I do not need another giant waste of time, thanks, Mel. I've spent endless hours on Twitter like an idiot.
Well, I go on YouTube to watch the marching again from the funeral. I love watching that.
You like watching funerals?
No, I love the marching.
Marching at funerals?
And I just love the marching.
Well, you've got to have a hobby. Okay, thanks a lot, Mel. 03, nothing weird about that at all. 0345 6060 973. John emails, which millionaire will be first in the queue to be the next face of see, I can't say that. Keith tweets, Genesis have just sold their catalogue for £269 million. Under Kwarteng, selling England by the pound, now 50p. It's a bit of a tortured reference there, Keith. Just sort of shoehorned that one in. And Alex says, I think Dizzy Lizzy and Quasimodo have the right idea for the economy. All we need to do is sing the national anthem, have some business meetings and trust the truss. Boris Johnson's business meetings. Got any booze? Wood Green, hello, Wiggly.
Hello.
Is your name Wiggly?
Well, actually, look, my first name's Bob. But Bob Wiggly.
Right, okay.
But I'm with you because you earlier alluded to the fact that we might not have a general election.
Yeah.
Now, constitutionally, we are bound to have one every 5 years. 300 years ago, it was down to the king. Then it became a 7-year, and finally they settled for 5. They brought in this Parliament Act, and they've got rid of that. But it is now, after 5 years, the Parliament must be curtailed.
Mm-hmm.
They must be given about a month, I believe, to clear up parliamentary business, and then they have up to 6 weeks for the campaign.
Right. Or what?
Or what? Well, there's no or what about it. That is what's supposed to happen.
Supposed to happen. Bingo. Yeah. And if it doesn't, then what?
Well, we'll have a revolution. we'll have another Oliver Cromwell.
Yeah,
no,
I seriously doubt that, because there will be some sort of either real or imagined emergency that will.
Not real or imagined emergency.
Liz Truss will be very clear that the emergency means that the vote has been cancelled for the foreseeable future.
No, she couldn't do that. There would be uproar in Parliament. Even
uproar, you say?
I believe so, yes. I believe there would be.
Uproar, yeah, people might tut.
In actual fact, you're quite right that the Constitution's in a mess, because that's what you're alluding to. We should have a written Constitution which compels Parliament to call an election.
Yeah. You know, all of these non-written down rules depend on the good chap principle, in much the same way as Donald Trump could just blast through any normal behaviour, because nobody had ever thought that somebody would behave as he did, like a ranting child. You didn't have to say that people would try to steal the election, that might be illegal, because nobody thought that anybody would try it. And then here comes a fellow that thinks that the rules don't apply to him, just like this bloke.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
When Jefferson wrote the American Constitution, he put the power in the hands of the president, called him the chief magistrate, and he could pick the Supreme Court, which makes it a political court. Ours shouldn't be. There should be... Why does it all take agreement between the parties? I accept that it's a mess, but I think that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, supposed. Previous experience does not necessarily foretell what might happen in the future.
Well, no general elections being cancelled in my lifetime, and I'm 87.
Right. Well, 87 years old. Yeah, but how many MPs have come into power without any of the electorate voting for them in your lifetime?
None. You have to have a by-election or an election.
Yeah.
An MP just not come into power.
No,
the local party must call it. Must
you
declare.
keep telling me what you're supposed to do, but we're beyond supposed.
Well, we're not beyond.
Well, we are. This government has taken us to a more right-wing economic position, as I described earlier on, than any other government in a major economy. More right-wing than Brazil. No other country in the world has at this moment a more economically right-wing government than we have. And absolutely no one voted for them. Zero. Not even the people who are Tory members voted for what's happening right now. They just made it up, as though they have some sort of mandate. They don't. No one asked for Liz Truss to be Prime Minister at all in the electorate, outside of a bunch of red-faced bores that prop up the golf club bar, apart from those people. The rest of us, the little people, we didn't vote for any of this. And no one voted for this kind of economic insanity that we are embarked on at the moment. Zero. So it is like a coup. They have taken over. No one voted for them. There's no point in saying that, it's supposed to be like this and it's supposed to be like that, so we can rest easy and it will always, act in the future as it has in the past, because that ain't necessarily so. I mean, do I actually think that the current government will stage an actual coup and prevent any future elections? Well, no. But then I wouldn't have predicted that of anything that Donald Trump tried to get away with. And I wouldn't have predicted that Liz Truss would give millionaires a tax cut and fund it by taking away the benefits of the poorest people in society. I wouldn't have expected that either, but here we are. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Thanks a lot, Wiggly, if that is indeed your name. Jeff emails, a talented dog walker is one that can leave a large... no. Archie texts, if we're on a sinking ship, the VIP passengers will not be first on the lifeboats, nor will the women and children. Willoughby and Schofield, they've got it in the neck so much. Now, I don't watch either of them and could barely pick each one out of a lineup. But it seems like all of the hatred that is confected and has been aimed at Meghan Markle has just for a brief moment in time been diverted to those two. I mean, come on. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbot. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
0345 6060 973. Trev texts, the 1940 general election was cancelled because of World War II, so your 87-year-old caller was wrong when he said no elections were cancelled during his lifetime. Well, World War III might be coming to a location near you soon. In fact, we might be already in it. John emails, I know this sounds like deja vu, but it's not Liz Truss's fault that she nearly sunk the pound. She's just doing her best. Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And Nathan says it's not a raid, it's a special fiscal operation. That's right. It's just bizarre. All these far right-wing libertarian cranks have been dreaming for this moment in time, and I imagine they never thought that they'd be able to get it. They'd never be able to step onto the bridge of the economic Starship Enterprise and be able to direct it to wherever they want to go. Because I would think that they expected there would always be somebody in the way to, cause an impediment to their progress. But Liz Truss walked onto that bridge of the economic Starship Enterprise and there was no one there. Everybody was busy concentrating on something else, like being able to afford food, for instance. And they thought, oh, what the hell, let's just do it. Set the controls for the heart of the sun.
Rock and roll!
Full speed ahead. And the problem with that, with the sort of realisation of their life's dream to take over and repurpose the economy for the benefit of those who already have, the super rich. If we can just let the super rich run wild and not drag them down with having to pay taxes to support the little people, then the world will be a better place. And the little people will all die out, and we will eventually have a sparsely populated, glorious world of the intelligentsia. And the super rich will take over. I think that's it in a nutshell, this sort of libertarian idea for let the market decide. The people who have already made all the money, they don't want to have to pay taxes so that knuckle-dragging mouth breathers can reproduce. They're appalled at the very idea. I mean, they don't want to pay £100,000 in tax on £1 million salary because they could use that £100,000 to buy a new Bentley. Or the government could take that £100,000 and just fritter it away on, feeding starving children. I bet you can't buy a Bentley with 100 grand. Get Steve Allen on the phone. He knows the price list. But the problem with embarking on this insane economic agenda of theirs that they've been dreaming about all this time, reading Ayn Rand and all these cranks, is that it might prove unpopular with all of the people who aren't billionaires. And so what you have to do is you have to fix elections. Make it virtually impossible for another party to come in and undo all their demented work, which is what is happening in America with the Republican Party doing their utmost and playing the long game as well. I mean, you have to credit them for that. Not necessarily going for short-term win, but really laying the foundations for a long-term win forever. You know, voting for right-wing judges who would just rubber stamp anything they want to do, and local election officials who would dismiss any votes that they don't like the look of, and so on and so on. So you have to fix an election. Now, it might not necessarily be that you cancel all future elections, but you just make it virtually impossible for some other party to come in and undo all your demented work. And for that to happen, you also have to scrap the Human Rights Act because, you don't want people making a scene about getting shipped off to Rwanda if they say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And you have to cancel the Freedom of Information Act because you don't want people looking into your business. And then, of course, you have to ban protests. And so far, it's tick, 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 tick and tick. Are you thinking about becoming worried yet? Pietro emails, I was born in Italy, but I lived in the UK for a long time. I always saw politics here in the UK as more civilised than Italy, and where there was a limit to the shame that politicians could bring to themselves. Since the Brexit campaign and vote, though, it feels like these two countries that I love very much have engaged in a race as to who makes the worst decisions and who has the worst politicians. I'm not sure who's winning that race at the moment. They're both going strong for the prize of the most butchered democracy, says Pietro. And I would have issue with that because I believe that we're winning that race. Britain is number one. And don't you forget it, 0345 6060 973. Now, I've only got like a minute, so I'll take the caller that's been waiting the longest and we'll see what we can get out of them. Chertsey, hello, Les.
Hello there. Good evening.
Les.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I think the Conservative problem started when they made Boris their leader, because when he was Mayor of London, his record wasn't very good.
No.
He bought 3 water cannons,
yep.
had them fitted out for
Waffen Squirter 9000.
And he was surrounded by a lot of educated advisors, and no one thought of ringing the LDVA to see if they was allowed on the road. And it cost the taxpayers thousands and
billions of dollars.
Nothing.
The thing is that Liz Truss is going to be seriously in want of one of those Waffen Squirter 9000s to hose any protesters off the streets. She's going to be on the phone to Germany right now to see if she can buy them back. And they will be a vehicle that will be able to swerve around any hosepipe ban, believe it. Thanks a lot, Les. Thank you. It's too many tweets and emails. Let's see, 10 pages of closely typed texts and emails that I'll have to try and get through this evening. If you... Wait a minute, my information is at the bottom of this thing here. Very unprofessional. But that's me. Everything that you want in the whole wide world is available on Global Player, which is free for PC, Apple and Android. I'll be back tonight at 10 o'clock. Richard Spur is here at 4. But first it's Clyde Bull. 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 But first